From time to time, I have a terrifying dream. I call it the reader's nightmare. I'm in a busy airport, and they've announced my flight. There is an epic walk to the gate, and I know I have only a few minutes before they will close the door to the jetway and my plane will leave without me. Suddenly, I realize that I don't have a book to read on the flight. Not one single book. I spin around, my eyes searching frantically for a bookstore. I see none. I run through the airport, past the duty-free counters selling liquor and perfume, past the luggage stores and fashion boutiques, past the place that offers neck massage. Still, I can't find an airport bookstore. Now, over the loudspeakers comes the final call for my flight. Flight 97 to Perth is ready for departure. All passengers must be on board at this time. They even call me by name. Panic sets in as I realize that I'm almost certainly going to miss my flight. But the idea of hours on a plane without a book? Intolerable. So I run and run, searching for that bookstore. Or at least a newsstand with a rack of paperbacks. I can't find a single book anywhere in the airport. I start to scream. Then I wake up. I don't have this dream about food or television or movies or music. My unconscious is largely untroubled by the idea of spending hours in a metal tube hurtling through the sky without something to eat or a program to watch or tunes in my ears. It's the thought of being bookless for hours that jolts me awake in a cold sweat. Throughout my life, I've looked to books for all sorts of reasons. To comfort me, to amuse me, to distract me, and to educate me. But just because you know that you can find anything you need in a book doesn't mean you can easily find your way to the right book at the right time. The one that tells you what you need to know or feel when you need to know or feel it. A few years ago, I wrote a book about the books I read with my mother when she was dying of pancreatic cancer. During this time, we read casually, promiscuously, and whimsically, allowing one book to lead us to the next. We read books we were given and books that had sat on our shelves for decades, waiting to be noticed. Books we had stumbled across and books we had chosen to reread simply because we felt like it. Were we looking for anything in particular? Usually not. At times, the books gave us something to talk about when we wanted to talk about anything rather than her illness. But they also gave us a way to talk about subjects that were too painful to address directly. They helped guide and prompt our conversations, so that I could learn as much as I could from my mother while she was still here to teach me. At other times throughout my life, though, I've felt a very specific need and have searched for a book to answer it. It hasn't always been easy to find the right book. Sure, when that burning need was to learn how to make a pineapple upside-down cake, I turned to the Cake Bible. Or when it was a need to find a place to eat in Chicago, the Zagat Guide. Or when I wanted to self-diagnose that angry rash, to the Mayo Clinic Family Health book. More and more, when I need this kind of information, my first line of attack isn't a book at all. It's the internet or social media, where I quiz the ubiquitous hive mind to find, say, good Malaysian food near Union Square. There are, however, questions that the internet and the hive mind are spectacularly unable to answer to my satisfaction. These are the big ones, the ones that writers have been tackling for thousands of years. The problem of pain, meaning, purpose, happiness. Questions about how to live your life. Yes, the internet tries to help, inasmuch as any inanimate thing can be said to try to do anything. There are digital video channels devoted to streaming inspirational speeches from conferences, in which people package insight into brief uplifting lectures, many with a compelling hook and some memorable stories. But the best of these are often simply digests of, or advertisements for, a book that the presenter has written or is currently working on. Authors have always given lectures. There's nothing new in that. And readers, after hearing such speeches, have craved the books that go with them, so that they could explore the topics in greater depth and engage with them more fully, working through the arguments at their own pace, skipping, savoring, and pondering. Unlike most of these inspirational speeches, even the best of which tend to be largely self-referential, most good books are not tackling big questions in isolation. Great authors have been engaged in a dialogue with one another that stretches back for millennia. People who write books generally read books, and most books carry with them traces of some of the hundreds or thousands of books the writer read before attempting the one at hand. And that's also why books can echo for centuries into the future. Even a book read by only a dozen people can have a massive effect if one of those readers goes on to write a book read by millions. British writer Henry Green, real name Henry Vincent York, never sold more than a few thousand copies of any of his novels, and most of his books sold far fewer than that. But the writers influenced by Green include Sebastian Faulks, whose Birdsong is one of the best-selling and most beloved British novels of all time, Eudora Welty, and Anthony Burgess, best known for A Clockwork Orange, which remains as shocking today as it was in 1962 when it was first published. John Updike wrote that Green's novels made more of a stylistic impact on me than those of any writer living or dead. Henry Green died at age 68 in 1973 and is largely forgotten. The books he influenced continue to be read and themselves inspire new works.